Welcome to the conversation with PFlow. So, in the last few weeks, we've been talking about certain specific things that are very important in our journey of life. Today, I want to specifically address something that someone had written me about. This person had a marriage that has literally just fallen apart, and they were asking me the question that PFlow, how do I start again? How do I restart my life and get everything back in order? And I thought to do this episode first as a response to the person who wrote me this letter, and I do commiserate with you on that incident in your life, and I hope you find the strength to carry on. And I also believe that this is something that a lot of us can learn from, because life is going to happen to you. Things are going to happen in your life that are going to throw you off course, that are going to, effectively take you away from the path that you had set for yourself. And it's important that you have the wherewithal to be able to start again, to be able to begin your life again and rebuild from the beginning. Sometimes you might be in a hurry to start again. I always talk about the fact that I went through a difficult emotional separation at some point in my life, and I was very quick to bounce back from that separation. But I know that's not the case for everyone, and I felt that at some point maybe I didn't even deal with my traumas well enough. But I thank God I'm in a much better place right now, and I'm hoping that if you follow the thinking that I'm going to lay out today, you would be able to do the same thing as well. So yes, you can actually start again. Life can throw you down, and you can get up and start again, because there's a saying, it's both scriptural and it's something that people say, that you fall down 7 times, you get up 8. That's an extremely important principle for us as human beings. Now, how do you start over again? Again, I kind of like lists. So I'm sorry, I'm going to give you another list of things that you're going to have to do for you to be able to start again. And the first one is you have to reflect. Look, when you get into trouble, when you have failed at something, when you haven't accomplished your goals, it's important for you to be able to reflect on how you got to where you are. So number one is you must have the spirit of reflection. Understand what errors that you committed. Understand what decisions that you took that currently led you to the situation where you are at. You see, because a lot of the time, a lot of us want to just get up and go. But no, that reflection is an important part of your life. You must reflect. You must look at, what decisions did I take that led me to this point? What could I have done better? What lessons have I learned from it, so that I do not repeat this experience again in my life? It's important that you have a spirit and a mind of reflection. And you must make time for it. It's not something that you're going to do just in a short while. No, you must be meticulous, you must be deliberate, and you must be focused on it. Understand what has gone wrong, write it down, and be sure that you wouldn't make that mistake again. The second thing I want you to do is that you need to examine your value system. Let me explain this. You see, everything that happens to us in life, we filter through the filter or the fulcrum of our values. Our values are our way of life, the things that drive the way we make decisions. So many times, when you think about it, actually, the relationship that has just fallen apart, the deal that has just failed, the business that has just collapsed, there are so many times when, if you used your values to filter through the things that were happening around you, you would have identified that the direction you were going was a wrong one. And that's why it's important for you to recalibrate your values. Recalibrate your values and ask yourself questions as to, did I follow my values before I got to this point? And secondly, are the values that I've held dear to my heart, are they still relevant in this current environment? Do I need to pivot? Do I need to change my values? Do I need to look at the things that I've done and basically chart a new course for myself? Extremely important, because yes, you have hit a crossroad in life, but you must be able to say, look, these are my core values. These are the things that I did that were anti my core values, which probably resulted in me getting into this situation. And because of that, I'm not going to live that life again. And that's why it's very important for you to focus on your value system. Now, the third thing I want you to focus your mind on here is your goals. Now, obviously, you failed. So which means that the goals that you set up for yourself may have not been accomplished or they have not been achieved. But you need to rewrite those goals. You need to repurpose your goals to ensure that you also have something to aspire to. Remember, I've always said this consistently, that if you do not have a picture of your vision, if you don't have a picture of your future, how would you know when you have arrived there? So at this season, you need to rewrite your goals. You need to recalibrate them. And I will remember what I always say about goals. Your goals have to be smart. They have to be specific, measurable. They have to be time-bound and all of that. But you must rewrite your goals. And you must put them in a place where you are constantly reminded of what the new goal is. So you've had a failed marriage. Write a new goal. I want to rebuild myself. I want to rebuild my confidence. I want to change my value system so that I can see things going wrong earlier. But write them down. You know, it's one of the prophets in the scripture that says, the vision, write it down so that he who finds it may run with it. You must write your goals down. Put them in a place where you can see, in a place where you can refer to them. And then as you accomplish those goals, you tick them up. I always say this to people, and I say, you must always have small wins and you must always celebrate them. So break your goals into smaller versions. And so that when you win a small one, you can have a party you can celebrate. A party of one. I'm not telling you to call your friends for a celebration, but have a party of one and say, I tick this box on my goals book, and I'm good. And it's very important for you to do that. I say that you should have what I call the SAGs, the small achievable goals. Those small achievable goals give you the oomph, the gas for you to start again, for you to, to accomplish the bigger ones. So this is something that you have to be very committed to. Now, the fourth thing is that you must have the courage to commit to change. You see, a lot of us, when we go into difficult situations, when we get into trouble and things have happened around us and we're trying to change course, we're very afraid of change. We feel that it wasn't my fault, it was the other person's fault. We don't take responsibility. But you see, part of taking responsibility is being open to change. You can't be afraid of a change. You can't be afraid of a change of direction or a change in mindset or a change in relationships. You must embrace it. But change sometimes requires courage. The strength to be able to say, I'm going to go in a different direction. I'm not going to look forward. I'm not going to look back. I'm going to focus on the goal. But if you don't have that courage, so many times when bumps show up along the way, what happens is that you lose faith and you lose focus. So when you are rebuilding your life, one thing that you need to rebuild is your courage. Your courage to be able to take decisions. These relationships are not ideal to my life. I'm walking away from them. This business is not working for me. I'm walking away from it. This country is not working for me. I'm looking for another place to relocate to. You must have the courage to be able to take those decisions. Now, for you to build that courage, you must have positive self-belief. You must believe in yourself that yes, you failed once, that you're not going to fail again. See, because the worst thing that failure does to you is that it can incapacitate you from making the next decision. But once you've conquered that and you can bite the bullet and take the right choices for your life, you would really find out that it's not that difficult after all. The current government promised us, the previous government promised us change. I'm not talking about the Buhari type of change. I'm talking about a change that is for the better, the one where your life becomes better. You must have the courage to accomplish it. Now, you must also understand that how you react to the things that happen around you, you are always in control of it. I always say you can always control how you react to the things that happen around you. Some people are going to react violently to things that happen around them, but some people react with calmness. And you see, the guy who reacts with calmness is the one who's able to calmly find a solution to his problem and be able to open up a way for the future. Now, the fifth thing that you need to do in rebuilding your life is that you must prepare and make your next move. Do not be incapacitated by fear. You can't be like the hare that has been caught in the headlights of a car and doesn't know whether to run or to stay. You must make a move. In my first episode, I talked about having a plan B. Here, you can't even have a plan B yet. What I'm saying to you is that you need to restart. Whatever it is that you failed at, you need to have a new course of action and you need to start. Don't get incapacitated by the things that have happened in the past. One thing I always say is that you do not drive with your focus on the rear view mirror. If you drive with the focus on the rear view mirror, you're going to have an accident. So yes, the rear view mirror is for you to see whether there's a hazard coming. But what you should focus your mind on is that I am going forward and I'm going to try and do something differently. Now, note this when you're making your next move. Madness is doing the same thing and expecting different results. So you've got to pivot, you've got to change the approach. If you use the particular approach to get to your failure, you cannot use the same approach to get to success. You must change approach. So when you're making the first move, or when you're making the next move, make sure that it is different from what you did before so that you get results this time. Now, point number 6 is that you need to get an accountability partner. There must be somebody who is providing you with mental, emotional, and moral support whilst you're going into this journey of rebuilding. Human beings are not built to exist in isolation. God has put us in communities for a specific reason, is that we feed off each other's energy. So when you've gone through a difficult period, find somebody that can show empathy, that can show strength, that can offer you a shoulder to lean on. You see, because there are going to be those dark nights when you can't go to sleep at night. There are going to be those periods when you sweat and you break out in sweat just out of fear. But if you have somebody beside you who's able to hold you, who's able to encourage you, you have a better chance at winning. Sometimes it's good for you to have a coach, somebody who's able to show you the errors that you've made and able to honestly provide feedback to you without condemning you. You know, the truth is that it's good to have friends that do not judge us, that do not condemn us. And it's important that when you find those friends, you do everything to keep them. I have some of those friends in my life and I'm so grateful to God for them. But you must find those kind of people and understand that when you want to get your life back together, you need an accountability partner. You need someone that's able to build with you. Now, the 7th thing I want you to note is you need to build now a strong support network. So your accountability partner is different from your support network. See, because what happens is that, imagine if you are an entrepreneur and you've run into trouble, you've lost money in a business. Who are you going to call to help you reflate your company? Who are you going to call? Do you have people in your network that you can get on the phone and give them a call and say, oh, please, I've run into these difficulties. Are you able to restart for me? You know, when Mr. Femi Otadala, he talks about his story of when his company almost crashed. And he says it with all diligence, that what God helped him with was that he had friends who were able to stand up for him and help him through that difficult period. I also know a number of people, business people, who have gone through very difficult times, but they always find a network that is able to help them rebuild, able to help them restart. It might just be a little bit of a contract here. It might be an introduction there, but those things are extremely important. You see, these people, they would offer you constructive feedback and they would also celebrate your successes with you. You know, a few days ago when the Dangote refinery started production, Mr. Otodola, like I talked about, put a full-page advert congratulating his friend. That is what it means to have a support network. People who are able to cheer you on when you've gotten into a difficult environment. So our final point is you must keep checking up on yourself. Now look, this is it. You've gone through a journey. Things have not worked out. You've failed. You are now starting to rebuild. It's important that there is a continuous and constant interaction between yourself and the environment that is around you. You must understand that your mental and social well-being is more important to you than anything else. Because if you're not able to keep a mental balance, if you're not able to keep an emotional balance, the strength that you need to be able to rebuild becomes extremely difficult. So what I always say is that you must be able to stand in the mirror and speak to yourself as the strongest person. So I say to myself, Femi, you're good at what you do. You're great. Nothing can stop you. You are the most beautiful of God's creation. And as you say that to yourself, you receive strength. Your body and your spirit responds to those positive affirmations. Then what happens is that you are able to restart. And you see, one thing I've learned is the Bible says that as a man thinks in his heart, so he is. And that is the truth about you when you're going through this period. That when you continue to think yourself from a positive perspective, you find out that you get results. Things work for you in a way that is actually sometimes even supernatural. Now, here it is. I always say that the one who takes care of himself is the one who can take care of others. If you haven't taken care of yourself, you have no help to others. You know, I always use the analogy of the airplane. They always say that if there's a drop in cabin pressure, that oxygen masks like this will come down. And it says, fix yours first before helping others. Because if you are dead, you will not be able to help anyone. So fix yourself first before trying to help others. I believe that when you've been able to build your life and rebuild it, have your goals figured out, have everything that you need figured out, the moment you achieve that self-awareness of knowing that I need to protect myself, I need to take care of myself, you find out that things just become easier for you. You're able to accomplish your dreams easier. You're able to accomplish your vision easier. So you see, a lot of people don't even know when it is time in their life for them to change. And this is very important. Sometimes you are in a relationship, it's not going anywhere, but you don't even have the courage or the confidence to be able to say, this isn't working for me, I need to step out of it. I'm going to give you a few principles very quickly that will help you know when it's time for you to move on. The first one is what I call restless reflection. So what is restless reflection? When I was going to leave my job in 2006, I just found myself very restless. I would go to the office and I couldn't find the energy. And at some point, I just realized that it was time to move on. Restless reflection means that you're not comfortable in that environment and it's time for you to move on. When you hit restless reflection, you must do an evaluation of where you are and whether it's time for you to move on. Now, when your values become confused, so when the things that are happening around you, or the things that you are committed to, are consistently in conflict with your personal values, it's time to move. It's time to look for a change. You can't stay in station N when there's no cheese there anymore and you expect that a miracle is going to happen. No, situations don't change themselves. People change situations. Now, if you become stagnant and you look at your life when you do your reflections, and you realize that you haven't improved from last year. You're in the same place where you were last year. You're in the same place where you were 3-4 years ago. It's time to move. The Bible talks to us about the children of Israel, and when they stayed in a particular place for a long time, and then after a while, God said to them, "Are you guys going to die here? It's time for you to move." And that's the same thing that must happen to you. If you have found yourself in a place of stagnancy, you need to be able to motivate yourself to move. Now, the final point that you would realize when it's time for you to move is that you feel a sense of urgency to take action. Once you feel that sense of urgency, like time is running out for you, you must take that action. It's important for you to take that action. And you see, I promise you one thing. It might not be smooth, but I promise you this. If you focus on the principles that we've talked about today, you would actually find yourself in a much better place as time goes on with you. I pray for you that, that the pains that you've suffered and the hurt that you suffered, that you are able to recover from them and that you are able to rebuild. My name is Femi Olade, and you have just had the conversation with PFlow. I'll see you on the next episode.